The Crimex that you just referred to, Comex, Crimex. I mean, they deal in paper contracts, man. They're not dealing in real stuff. And once just one big player demands physical delivery, it's over. The whole scam is going to blow up. Gold, silver should be multiples higher than what they are right now. It's the scam of the century. We all know that. It's not going to stop until, again, one big player demands physical delivery. So until that time, we're going to take advantage of everything we possibly can. What do we got going on here? We got inflation report this morning telling us, well, guess what? It's still rising. In fact, at its fastest pace in 6 months, not going to stop. What are people going to do? When are they going to realize that they got to be outside the dollar? You got to be in outside of their system in every way possible. Best way, in my opinion, that you just brought up, is to be in silver and gold.
The U.S. is facing an unprecedented debt challenge, and the repercussions are rippling across global markets. With the debt-to-GDP ratio hovering around 120%, a level previously seen only during World War II, and projections pointing to 150% within the next decade, the fiscal trajectory is unsustainable. From $390 billion in 1971 to roughly $37 trillion today, the explosive growth in national debt underscores a system under immense strain. Gregory Mannarino, a market strategist known for his bold take on global financial systems, is sounding the alarm. He explains that the Federal Reserve is purchasing all U.S. debt, while the Treasury is simultaneously repurchasing its debt funded by the Federal. This intervention has kept 10-year Treasury yields artificially stable, allowing liquidity to flow into the stock market and driving record highs. Mannario warns that risks extend beyond the U.S., as China strengthens BRICS alliances while the U.S. becomes increasingly marginalized. Domestically, industry and services are faltering, tourism is collapsing, and systemic stress is mounting. The dollar has fallen over 12% against the euro, while China's yuan peg keeps exports competitive. BRICS' efforts to bypass the dollar further threaten U.S. currency dominance, underscoring the fragility of America's financial position and the need for strategic awareness globally. In this video, we dive into Gregory Mannarino's market analysis, not only on gold and silver, but also on the US dollar, Treasury yields, and the broader global financial system. He highlights the risks posed by rising debt, currency devaluation, and global realignments, such as the BRICS bloc, demonstrating how these forces could trigger significant market shifts. Stay tuned. And if you value insightful, data-driven commentary on the economy and financial markets, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more weekly updates. We appreciate your support and hope you enjoy the video.
I still say they're probably, both of them are the most undervalued assets on the planet Earth, especially silver. The Crimex that you just referred to, Comex, Crimex. I mean, they deal in paper contracts, man. They're not dealing in real stuff. And once just one big player demands physical delivery, it's over. The whole scam is going to blow up. Gold, silver should be multiples higher than what they are right now. It's the scam of the century. We all know that. It's not going to stop until, again, one big player demands physical delivery. So until that time, we're going to take advantage of everything we possibly can. What do we got going on here? We got inflation report this morning telling us, well, guess what? It's still rising. In fact, at its fastest pace in 6 months, not going to stop. What are people going to do? When are they going to realize that they got to be outside the dollar when you have a president who's screaming from rooftops that demanding, in fact, threatening a lawsuit against the Federal Reserve if they don't lower rates? You can't make that up, meaning let's kill the currency more than it's being killed already. All this does is empower the Federal Reserve. Everyone knows it. It's just a game. President Trump could end the Fed in 7 seconds by signing into law the Gold Reserve Act of 1934, which he won't do because he's playing a game. And he's using his people as pawns in a game. That's all this is. So what are we going to do? The polar opposite. You know what we should be doing is returning purchasing power to the currency. You can't have a strong economy nor a strong nation with a weak currency. Does that make sense to everyone here? Sure.
Yeah.
Of course it should. You need a strong currency, and to support the purchasing power of the currency, you need a corresponding rate of interest high enough to do that. But we're getting the polar opposite. It's destroying our economy. It's wiping out our industry across the board. I mean, I urge people to do their own research on this. Start to look into it. Just take 2 seconds of your time. Anyone out here is listening and say, okay, when were the most prosperous times for the United States of America? During times of artificially suppressed rates and weak currency, or higher rates and a strong currency? It's a no-brainer, man. It's higher rates and a stronger currency. When you have a sitting president, a sitting vice president saying we need lower rates, we need them now, we need a weaker currency here, that you realize that either we're listening to two people who have no clue, which I can't say that's true, or they obviously realize that what they're saying is massively destructive for the economy because it's being pillaged. Right now, the 1% and 2%ers are pillaging the economy. They're taking whatever wealth is left and shoving it right up to the 1% and 2%ers via the mechanism of currency devaluation. It's called the Cantillon effect. I've been screaming from rooftops about this for how freaking long.
Right.
And it's a mechanism to wipe out our industry. And the Fed's going to get here and offer more stimulus, make themselves stronger, and then, which is obviously the end game. So you got to be in outside of their system in every way possible. Best way, in my opinion, you just brought up, is to be in silver and gold. Period. The freaking end. It there's just no debate here, and no one can argue against this. I mean, where is this going to eventually go? My God, man, multiples higher from where we are right now. The Crimex here keeping the prices suppressed here for decades. You got global debt ballooning, United States debt ballooning, big, fat, beautiful, disgusting bills here, 4.1 trillion more to the debt. You can't make it up. Currency devaluation, artificially suppressed rates. I mean, this could potentially push the stock market higher, absolutely, but at what cost? At the cost of everything else, and people are being wiped out. So our factories are dying. Layoffs are skyrocketing. And over 94,000 alone in just over the last year with regard to the U.S. industry and manufacturing.
Wow.
It's over. And it's going to be a lot worse from here moving forward unless we do something. Now, the bottom line, why President Trump is talking about he duped his people too many times. First, he told them the story that we need to we have weakened the dollar, so the world is going to want our products. So it's better for that's going to make our factories wake up. But this is a joke. Anyone who believes that, let's see, the dollar's lost 96% of its purchasing power since the Federal Reserve decided to take over the system. If we give them another 1 or 2%, then all of a sudden the world's going to jump for joy for our products. You got to be kidding me. No, it's not true. It's a lie. And anyone who bought that drank way too much freaking Kool-Aid. The bottom line is he's talking about this so we can inflate the debt even further and make the Fed stronger. That's what this is all is, and foster the Cantillon effect, the wealth transfer right up to the 1% and 2%. Who owns 90% of the market? Well, it's the 1% and 2%ers here, and they want to see the market higher. But again, at what cost? At the cost of everyone else. It's devilism. That's what I've been trying to explain to people for the longest freaking time. But we need to return purchasing power to the currency. We need to swallow the bad medicine and realize this is the way to turn it around. But I would rather see President Trump sign the Gold Reserve Act of 1934 into law, which he could revalue gold at whatever he wants. I say $40, $50, $60, $70, $80,000 an ounce. Back the currency with that gold, return ourselves to a gold standard. The Federal Reserve would be dissolved in 7 seconds, the time it takes him to write his signature here. But now what do we have? We have this stablecoin token system that is being put into place. They privatized the monetary system right under everyone's nose while everyone's distracted by Epstein. It's unbelievable. But that's what's going on here. And people like you and me have been warning that this was going to happen, moving towards a tokenized system. We're going to why do you think they're collecting biometric ID on everyone here? Because it's going to make us safer now. It's because they're going to use that data and tokenize everything, including us. Wow. We are going to be reduced into a token. And again, think about this. This President Trump signed into law, this stablecoin Genius Act, is now going to allow private corporations to issue tokens which are not currency, certainly not cash, and people are going to use this. It's completely unconstitutional to buy goods and services. It's unbelievable. But again, this was done under the cover of the ghost of Epstein. We all know Trump's all over it. Okay, we all know it. It's no big secret here, okay? But the bottom line is that use this. Don't let any political event like this go without, getting something through in the shadows is what they did. It's an incredible thing. But unfortunately, we're all going to pay for it on a much greater scale moving forward.
Gregory Mannarino emphasizes that gold and silver remain some of the most undervalued assets on the planet, with silver offering particularly explosive potential. He notes that the Comex operates primarily through paper contracts rather than physical delivery, creating a system that could collapse if a major player demands actual metals. Historical precedent and market structure suggest that once this pressure triggers, the price of silver could surge far more dramatically than gold, reflecting its intrinsic undervaluation and the imbalance in supply and demand. Mannarino is also closely monitoring the broader financial landscape, including U.S. manufacturing and the dollar. With over 94,000 manufacturing layoffs in the past year and ongoing industry weakness, combined with President Trump's policies aimed at weakening the dollar to boost exports, the structural risks are mounting. Meanwhile, the bond market is surprisingly calm, pricing in a 90% probability of a September interest rate cut and anticipating a terminal rate of around 3% next year. Mannarino highlights the divergence this creates. Looser monetary policy supports equities but undermines the dollar, further exacerbating systemic vulnerabilities. Let's get back to the interview.
The most beautiful, and I really got to take my hat off to President Trump on this one. He signed an executive order, no central bank digital currency. So what did he do? He found a backdoor way to do it. That was just the bait.
Okay.
Was to say, okay, we're not going to do this. Then he signs this stablecoin law, token into law here, allowing the system to be privatized and still having the Federal Reserve oversee it. It's a central bank digital currency, but orders of magnitude worse because now there is zero oversight. At least with a central bank digital currency, there would still be, in theory, some oversight. Right. So again, the biggest bait and switch that has ever been pulled off in American history. We're already in a currency crisis, henceforth why we're seeing what we're seeing here with the debt inflating on a massive scale. It can't stop. A system that is absolutely dependent on debt expansion on an unprecedented scale until the system implodes on itself. We got the Federal Reserve in here buying all the debt. Now they got the U.S. Treasury here buying back their own debt, being funded by the Federal Reserve, and this is keeping the debt market of the 10-year yield basically stable, which is allowing cash to move its way into the stock market. Hence why we're seeing record high. Wow. It could go on and go on and go on, but at what cost? At cost of currency devaluation on a massive scale, of the economy failing, our industrial engine dying. I mean, it's unbelievable. The 1% and 2% are literally pillaging, Trump being one of the 1% and 2% as well, 1%ers, pillaging the United States to death. He's turned the Oval Office into a cryptocurrency stablecoin casino, making himself and his sons. He has his own stablecoin, USD1. He jumped ahead of everyone. I mean, look, man, what they tell you what they're going to do before they do it. Stable genius. Remember, he called himself a stable genius. Right. Now we got Stablecoin Genius Act. That's their book, man. Wow. Devilism. Their book tells you, they got to tell you what they do first. It's about free will. Now, they implemented it. Where's the outcry? Nowhere, because people don't even know it happened, because it happened under the shadow of Epstein, right in the shadows. Wow. And what are they going to do? But look, where they're going to force us to suffer further here, and then they're going to say, okay, well, we have this system. We have a new system here. President Trump signed the stablecoin token into law. We're going to start, going that way. Absolutely. It's about maximum control. I'm telling people that they need to take their cash out of these banks, put them in a credit union, keep only what you need. Bank runs, absolutely. This can happen here. It will happen at one particular time. We're being brought down to our knees purposely so they can implement the system of maximum control. That's what this is all about. This staged, nonsensical shutdown of Washington, D.C. now as a police state. It's not even on the top 15 of worst crime cities in the United States, but they're gonna call out the National Guard over here, which they just did. We're doing this to stop crime. No, it's a test bed to see where this is gonna go. Wow. How people they're gonna allow this to happen. Look, man, as soon as you surrender your freedom and liberties, you start to see armed soldiers on the street. We have a problem a lot worse than they're letting us know about it. They're getting set up because they all know where this is going, and people better get hip to it, man. People are sitting back sucking their thumbs off. They better listen to shows like this and start taking action. They don't want it. People don't want this token system. Well, it's too late. You should have taken action before, when people like you and I was telling people it was coming. Okay, now that you let that one go, how about saying no to all this other garbage that's going on right now? We do not need lower rates and a weaker currency. We need to do the polar opposite. But again, people are going to sit back and they're going to take it straight in the gabagool, man, until they can't handle it anymore. And then they're going to cry and say, well, why didn't anyone tell us? Well, you know what? There are people trying to warn them, like you and I right now. They
Um,
have no clue. They don't. You're right. They don't want to know. They realize that, look, man, this is not the United States of America. It hasn't been in many, many years. It's not even a corporate state controlled by the government anymore. I don't know what it is. It's yet to be defined, and what we're seeing now with the way things are going here. If people believe that the trajectory is going to change, it's just not. Nothing is.
yeah.
We're not winning. We're losing. We haven't had one, not even one, actual real trade deal. This European thing is falling apart here already with these pledges. You can't make it up. China now, okay, we kicked the can down the road for another 90 days. Now there's a truce, another truce with China. Why? Because China doesn't want a deal. China's watching the United States dissolve itself from the inside.
Yeah.
It's like a snake eating its own tail, and they're laughing. You think China wants to align with the United States? No. What are they doing? They're setting up the BRICS, their alliances over there. And the United States is not involved. The United States is being shunned on the world stage. Not only is our industrial engine dying here, you got our service sector dying here, 70% of the economy, tourism falling off of a cliff. I mean, we are in an economic collapse right now.
But they're
Um,
sugarcoating it in the public, and oh,
that's,
you're gonna have we have
the
lower
people
rates.
need lower rates. How's that going to help us? Lower rates is going to miraculously help us, right? You can't make it up. No, we need to return purchasing power to the currency. And President Trump either knows it and this is deliberate, or he's just, frankly, an imbecile of the highest order, which I believe he probably is. But at the same point, I think this is just, he's using his people as a tool to, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they're sitting there with their thumb in their rectum and not saying anything, opening their freaking mouths. It's about freaking time that these people start getting with the program. They didn't vote for any of this here. We're still funding wars all over the place. Ukraine, tens of billions of dollars going over there. Wars are going on here. Because it's not going to stop. Nothing has stopped yet. And again, not one comprehensive trade deal, not one. We were supposed to get 90 in 90 days. Remember that? One per day?
Yeah,
We haven't even
yeah.
got one.
Gregory Mannarino's analysis highlights a U.S. and global economy on the brink, not due to some distant issue, but because decades of policy interventions have created deep structural fragility. The Federal Reserve and U.S. Treasury, through ongoing debt purchases and yield suppression, are propping up the stock market while transferring wealth to the top 1 to 2% at the expense of the broader population. As these distortions grow, the U.S. dollar is likely to weaken further, exposing vulnerabilities across the financial system and increasing systemic risk. In this fragile environment, gold and silver remain highly undervalued and underappreciated. Comex's reliance on paper contracts rather than physical delivery leaves the system vulnerable to potential shocks. And once investors shift their focus to tangible assets, the upside potential for precious metals could be significant. Meanwhile, emerging tokenized monetary systems and biometric tracking threaten to privatize money and reduce individuals to digital tokens, creating serious constitutional and economic risks largely ignored by the mainstream. Mannarino points out that declining industry, currency devaluation, and suppressed interest rates are early signals of systemic stress. Savvy investors are positioning themselves in gold, silver, and other tangible assets, preparing to benefit as trust in the fiat system erodes and value flows to those who act proactively. Are you prepared for the next major market shift? If you found this analysis valuable, like the video, subscribe, and share it with other serious investors. We'll continue bringing insights from the brightest minds in markets to help you stay ahead of the storm.